Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So in today's video, unfortunately, we actually have some pretty devastating news for Social Security beneficiaries. We're going to be going over what that is, but why there is some hope that we should still cling to. Plus, South Carolina is going to be holding their primaries today for the Republican primary election. Does Nikki Haley have any chance to top Donald Trump? We'll be going over that as well. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $9,000 in free stocks or $9,000 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Webull. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then deposit at least 1 penny. At that point, Webull will be sending you at least 3 free stocks worth all the way up to $9,000. And if you'd really just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive those stocks is just sell them for what they're worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into our lead story of today's video, and that is in the state of South Carolina. Leave a comment below if you currently live in the state and plan to vote in the primary, but they are going to be holding their presidential primary for the Republican Party today. So we're basically down to 2 main candidates. It's going to be the former president Donald Trump versus the former governor of the state of South Carolina in Nikki Haley. So you might think because she was the former governor of the state and people voted her in and she was pretty popular, at least at the time, that Nikki Haley might actually stand a pretty good chance of being the first person to defeat Donald Trump in the Republican primary. Well, if we look ahead at early polling here, Trump is leading by 20 plus points on average. And maybe if this was a little bit closer, maybe 5-point lead for Trump or something like that, you would think maybe there could be like a mistake in the polling and Nikki Haley might actually be able to pull it out. But if we're looking at here at 20 points for Trump leading on average, some of them as high as 28 points, I mean, I don't think that Nikki Haley can overcome that unless it's just like a huge change in the polling, and the polling is that far off. I mean, polling can be off by maybe 4 to 5 points, but 20 points, I don't think that Nikki Haley stands much of a chance. And at this point, even if Nikki Haley does lose her home state of South Carolina, she has not given any indication that she plans to drop out of the race. So I'm not sure how far she plans to go with this, how much further her donors plan to continue donating to her campaign. If she's going to lose state after state, are they going to wait for her to lose all 50 states before dropping any campaign funding? And right now, recently, Nikki Haley is also saying that Trump would not win the general election. Mark her words. So according to The Hill, GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley predicted Thursday that former President Trump would not win in the general election if he is the GOP nominee. She said, quote, Donald Trump will not win the general election. On CNN, during an interview with anchor Jake Tapper, she said, quote, you can have him win any primary you want. He will not win a general election. We will have a female president of the United States. It will either be me or it will be Vice President Kamala Harris. And she went on to say, but if Donald Trump is the nominee, you can mark my words, he will not win a general election. So obviously fighting words there from Nikki Haley. And she also went on to say that there's no way that she's going to be the vice president, that she's apparently just going to decline if she is offered that spot. So she said, so according to The Hill here, Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley gave her clearest answer yet to whether she would accept an invitation to join former President Trump's ticket, claiming Friday that it is, quote, done. Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, said people could no longer argue she launched her bid just to be vice president. Her comments come as both candidates are vying for the Palmetto State voters ahead of Saturday's GOP primary. And then, of course, Trump also told voters in South Carolina earlier this month that he would never pick Haley to be his running mate. He said, quote, you're never going to have her, and I don't think anybody is very devastated, he said at the time, according to local reporting. Then when asked Friday whether she would take Representative Dean Phillips up on his offer to launch a unity ticket against Trump and President Biden, Haley didn't seem open to the idea. She said that I'm running as a Republican. I'm running to try to wake people up that if they nominate Donald Trump in this primary, we will lose a general election. So once again, perhaps a little bit of jealousy on Nikki Haley's part there. Because right now, if we look at polling, it's not like Biden is exactly blowing away Trump in the early polling. And in fact, Trump is actually winning on average by 2 points across the board. Of course, one poll, Biden leads by 4 points. But then we have another poll where Trump actually leads by 6 points. So if this polling is any type of indication of how the results are going to go in November, unless something drastically changes, it looks like Trump is going to win the 2024 election. But leave your thoughts and comments below. If the election was held today, are you voting for Trump? Are you voting for Biden? Or are you voting for someone else, perhaps Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? Now, in some other news, of course, in the main topic of today's video, unfortunately, we have some pretty devastating news for Social Security beneficiaries, as it looks like the trust fund is going to be running out of money to pay out the full benefits by 2033. So, according to Newsweek, seniors expect to run out of money as Social Security drop forecast. So, many seniors expect to run out of money in less than 10 years, as economists predict that Social Security will become insolvent by 2033. According to a new survey from MassMutual, 40% of near retirees say that Social Security benefits will be their biggest source of income in retirement. Despite this, more than 1/3 say their retirement income would not be enough to last them for more than 10 years. The data arrives as economists predict Social Security will become insolvent by 2033 if nothing changes. As more baby boomers retire and fewer young people are entering the workforce, the Social Security program is anticipating benefits to run out. Beginning in 2033, benefits could be cut by 23% without major program changes. And a total of right now 138,098 adults over the age of 55 were homeless in the United States on a single night, according to the 2023 PIT count. And as more baby boomers retire without adequate benefits, that number is expected to triple in 2030. So obviously that is extremely devastating. Right now this year, over 100,000 people over the age of 55 homeless on the streets. That number is expected to triple by 2030. What happens in 2040 when we have all these benefit cuts take place? The benefit cuts that will be taking place are expected to happen in 2033. And while that may seem like it's a long way away, it really isn't. Time just seems to fly the older we get. But of course, like I mentioned before, there's also reason for optimism here. The first reason for optimism is that even though the trust funds are going to be running out of money, it's not going to mean that you're going to go from receiving $2,000 per month all the way down to nothing at all, to a $0 check. What's going to end up happening is they're going to cut benefits by anywhere between 19 to 25%. So in the case that they cut benefits, in the worst case scenario by 25%, what that would mean is going from receiving $2,000 per month down to $1,500 per month. So even though a cut is a terrible, terrible thing, at least it's not going to be going down to zero. So you're going to at least be receiving something at $1,500. Now, the second reason for optimism is as long as we have some type of bipartisan cooperation that takes place between Republicans and Democrats, and even if they do kick the can down the road to the final second, they can get something done to save the program and keep benefits going out at the same pace that they've been going at, or perhaps even increasing benefits. And we saw something similar happen back in 1983, where we were just months away from insolvency of the trust fund, and they ended up doing some different kinkering with the program. They raised the full retirement age. They placed some taxation on Social Security benefits. So as long as they do something similar, work out something on a bipartisan basis, we won't have to have these drastic cuts of 20 to 25%. So that is the reason for optimism. Even though they don't do a lot in Washington, it seems like at the very last seconds, in the very last months, they do seem to come together in a last-ditch effort to get something done. But let me know your thoughts in comments below. Do you have any trust in our lawmakers to fix the Social Security Trust Fund? But that's all we have for today's video. Certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.